What captivates me about Nanami isn't his sorcerer abilities, combat powers, or unwavering ideals. Instead, it's his embodiment of an ordinary man on a quest, not for power or prestige, but for something profoundly simpler, yet infinitely more complex: a pursuit of meaningful work. In the world of Jujutsu Kaisen, where character bursts with power, where we see chaos of curses and epic battles, Nanami's journey to find work that resonates with his soul paints a picture of a character that is so relatable and deeply touching. Hi guys, it's Yume, and today let's talk about Nanami. His narrative isn't typical of a Jujutsu world. He doesn't come from a long lineage of sorcerers, bears some coveted techniques from birth, or anything so dramatic. In fact, he once lived like much of us, tied to the monotony of the corporate machine. Unlike typical characters who are driven by unique dreams or harrowing backstories, Nanami's struggles are uniquely mundane, yet deeply existential. He represents every individual who has ever questioned the meaning behind their daily routines, all felt adrift in the faceless crowds. The yearning for work that has significance, for a role that goes beyond just earning a paycheck or doing what you are told to do. It's a sentiment that many of us grapple with. This isn't about wanting to save the world or achieving unprecedented power. It's about finding purpose in the everyday. He said, "What I learned from being at the Magic College was that,
呪術師はクソということです。
and what I learned from working at your average corporation was that,
労働はクソということです。同じクソならより適性のある方を。出戻った理由なんてそんなもんです。くらいに。
Nanami studied in Jujutsu High like Gojo, but after experiencing losses and witnessing the deaths of his friends, he began to see no point in living as a sorcerer. So he tried to quit and turn into the corporate world in search for a life with a better purpose. And he couldn't find meaning there either, not exactly surprising. But here, he's not glorifying the life of a sorcerer or vilifying the corporate life. Instead, he's lamenting the lack of fulfillment, the absence of passion, and the death of purpose in both worlds.
寝ても覚めても金のことだけを考えている。金さえあれば。
For him, and perhaps for many of us, work is a struggle. And if he had to struggle, he would rather do it in an environment that challenged his skills and make the best of his aptitudes. And right now, he is choosing to go back to the battlefield to fight curses. Nanami's perspective on adulthood is also profoundly insightful and makes him even more relatable. He said that adulthood is not something gained by power or by escaping death so many times.
お気に入りの惣菜パンがコンビニから姿を消したり、そういう小さな絶望の積み重ねが人を大人にするのです。
This speaks volumes about his worldview. The statement captures the essence of mature not as the grand events of accomplishments, but as culmination of facing life's small challenges and disappointments. It's a very realistic picture of adulthood, a journey filled with shares of hurdles and moments of introspections. Nanami doesn't just fight curses, he battles with that existential question that haunt many of us. What is the meaning of my work? What becomes of me now that I'm an adult? We first was introduced to his character when Nanami was paired with Yuji, a raw and passionate rookie. Their dynamic instantly reveals the layers of Nanami's character. During their hunt for cursed spirits, his words to Yuji stood out.
勝てないと判断したら呼んでください。
ちょっと舐めすぎじゃない、俺のこと。
私には君を自分より優先する義務があります。
This wasn't just a declaration of protective stance, but a glimpse into his philosophy. This interaction with Yuji illustrates Nanami's mentorship style. Unlike some mentors, Gojo, for example, who emphasizes the importance of facing challenges, Nanami stresses pragmatism. He acknowledged the difference in experience and strengths between him and Yuji, not as condescending remark, but as a simple fundamental truth. It's clear that he doesn't see Yuji as weak, but he simply sees his role as an adult is to protect a younger student. This mentoring style is rooted in genuine care but balanced with a keen understanding of harsh realities of their role. At the core of Nanami's protective nature lies a tragic memories of his student days. The death of his friend Haibara, which occurred to him without any adult supervision, left a lasting impact on him. This traumatic event instilled in Nanami a sense of responsibility. Yes, he once tried to quit becoming a sorcerer because it would have been safer. But when he returned to the world of sorcerers, he became determined to not let the younger generations face the perils of the Jujutsu world without guidance. Now, let's talk about his Jujutsu technique and its significance to his character. One of my favorite parts in Jujutsu Kaisen is how each character's technique mirrors their personality. These powers are not random. So when we want to understand a character better, it's important to dissect and look at their curse technique and its significance. I've done a video on Gojo's, Geto's, and Nobara's and its significance on their characters, so do check them out. Nanami's curse technique, known as ratio, allows him to divide targets into 10 equal sections and designate a weak point by creating a line that connects any 2 points. When he strikes the weak point, the damage is significantly greater than any normal blow.
お互い生きていたらまた会いましょう。
The very notion of ratio technique revolves around division and precision. By dividing things into sections and focusing onto critical points, Nanami is essentially finding the ratio in his combats. This mirrors how he views life's unpredictable and chaotic nature. Amidst the chaos, he discerns patterns and focuses on what truly matters. Life is not always about the grandest moments or the most dramatic events. More often than not, it's about the subtleties, the patterns, the regularities, and how we navigate them. Nanami's technique symbolizes the need to find a balance or ratio in life, to prioritize, to focus on the essence, and to minimize wastage of energy. The importance he places on division and calculation reflects the pragmatic approach, emphasizing the need to evaluate and act with precision. When Nanami removes the glasses and releases his overtime mode, his powers drastically increases for a short duration. This shift is reminiscent of someone putting in extra hour at work, going above and beyond their regular capacity. Nanami's background in the corporate world adds depth to this technique. Just as employees push over their limits and boundaries during overtime, Nanami surpasses his limits to tackle challenging opponents, mirroring the extra effort we sometimes exert in our professional lives. The significance of the overtime is that while it's powerful, it's also temporary and that it can be exhausting. This resonates with the idea that in life, while we can push ourselves beyond our limits for short bursts, it's unsustainable in the long run. But when the situation demands for it, Nanami's willingness to enter this state underscores his commitment to his chosen path as a Jujutsu sorcerer and to protect those he cared about. Nanami might be pragmatic and a realist, but it would be a mistake to label him as a cynic. Yes, he holds a realistic and sometimes harsh view of the world, but it's paired with an unwavering commitment to the whatever he undertakes. He doesn't half-heartedly go through tasks, he dives deep, ensuring he gives it utmost, be it in corporate boardroom or in a battlefield against the curses. As his life came to its tragic end in Shibuya Arc, his last introspective musing revealed a lot about his character. Reflecting on his choices, he says,
逃げてやりがいなんて曖昧な理由で戻ってきて
This line is deeply telling. It speaks to his continuous search for purpose, for meaning, for something more than just the everyday grind. He searched for it during his school life as a sorcerer. And when he tried to escape from the shaman world, he searched for that meaning in the corporate world. And again, when he returned to the battlefield, he never stopped looking. And in his final moments, the exhaustion seeps through. Tired. So tired.
疲れたなそう疲れたんだもう十分やったさ
His body was burned by Joko and was extremely wounded by Mahito, but it was not the physical pain that he felt at that last moment. Instead, it's the exhaustion from weight of the world, the burden of his choices, and from the relentless quest for purpose that caught up on him. It's a heartbreaking realization, but also one that underscores the essence of Nanami Kanto, a man in a relentless pursuit of meaningful work in whatever form it takes. Many fans, including me, felt the weight of injustice upon learnings of Nanami's fate. After all, here was a character that was not only relatable but also deeply impactful in the storyline. I love Nanami, and at first I think he deserves so much more than just being a victim of Shibuya Arc. At the very least, I wish for a more dramatic fight before his death. His untimely departure, especially with a detailed showcase battle with foes like Mahito or Jogo, felt like an unfinished story. While other characters received heroic blazing finales, Nanami's end seemed more subdued and unceremonious. It was almost as if he was snatched away before he could reach the zenith of his arc. But this brings us to a more somber aspect of his demise. In many narratives, hard work, perseverance, and a strong moral compass are often rewarded. Nanami's embodied all these qualities, and yet his fate serves as a stark reminder that sometimes effort doesn't necessarily lead to a reward or even survival. Nanami is a poetic device that Gege used to illustrate the brutal, unfiltered reflection of the harsh realities of the world of Jujutsu Kaisen, and by extension, our world. Yet, in this melancholy, there's a glimmer of essence that made Nanami the character he was. Even in his final moments, when faced against the inevitability of his end, he thought of Yuji, demonstrating his unwavering commitment to the youth and the next generation. He chose his last words carefully, ensuring they'd serve as a beacon of hope rather than a chain of despair. Understanding the weight of his words might carry and the potential harm they might inflict upon Yuji's psyche, he refrained from uttering anything that could become a curse to the young sorcerer. Instead, in that condition, with half of his body destroyed, he mustered a reassuring smile to Yuji, and he simply passed on the torch with,
あとは頼みます
I wanna cry. This bittersweet farewell captured the crux of Nanami's character. A steadfast guardian, always looking out for the future, for something more, even if he himself wouldn't be part of it. thank you so much guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I do Nanami justice. Leave a like and comment here what you think about Nanami. I really hope that we could have seen more of his story. What are your favorite parts about Nanami? What's of his character that strikes to you the most? If you're new here, please subscribe to my channel. I have some Jujutsu content and many other anime character analysis coming up. Thank you and see you next time. Bye bye.